This is Bryn. This is Tim. This is their journey to publishing their stories and becoming real authors. This is Losers Writing Books.
Hey guys, today we're talking about the silly way I got my book agent. We'll also be covering whether it's actually necessary to have a book agent in 2021. And if you stick around, we'll also be covering my tip for getting a book agent this year.
We're also going to check back in and see how we did against our March writing goals and set out what our April goals will be towards publishing in the future. So Tim, you're the professional one out of the two of us. You actually have an agent. How did you land an agent?
When I first moved to London on a 2-year work visa, I saw an ad for a writing conference in York, where you could basically pitch your work to 3 agents or publishers. And for me, having hardly shown my work to anyone, this was a really cool opportunity. The first 2 agents I sat down with were really encouraging, had some good feedback for me, which I thought, this is great. The third agent, however, didn't even show up. And at that point, I realized I'd actually accidentally submitted it to a romance agent, which is not something you should do if you write fantasy. The conference were good enough to say, hey, your third agent didn't show up, so we're going to share your first chapter with one of the guest speakers who was a pretty popular sci-fi author at the time. And he was good enough to read it. And that night there was a conference dinner where this author actually came up to me and said, hey, I really like your first chapter, and also if you want, I'd be happy to share my agent's details with you.
So you got an agent because another author read your book?
Kind of. So basically this led to this author actually introducing me to heaps of agents and publishers who were at the conference. And obviously with his, nice words about my chapter, they all of a sudden wanted to talk to me and were like, well, please send me your manuscript tomorrow. The problem being, I hadn't actually finished my manuscript.
How far through your manuscript were you when you went and pitched this book?
Honestly, I think I was about halfway through. Basically, what I said to these agents was, I'm happy to share my manuscript with you, but I'm going to need a few more weeks just to tie some things off. I raced back to London, was writing 5,000 to 7,000 words a day, and freaking out basically that I should never have gone to this conference. I eventually got the manuscript done, took about a month, sent it off to these agents, and one of them pretty quickly got back to me and really enjoyed it and said, hey, let's work together.
So you got a foot in the door by putting yourself out there, and randomly some author who you'd never met read you and told all his editor friends what you're doing was great.
Yeah, though one thing I would say is perhaps you should finish your book properly before you go hitting up agents.
So Tim, if you're after an agent, would you recommend going to conferences and putting yourself out there in person rather than just sending blind emails into the ether?
Yeah, I think if you've got the opportunity to actually go to a writing conference and sit down with an agent or publisher and actually eyeball them and discuss your work, you're automatically ahead of the 500 other people who have probably just emailed their manuscript out of the blue to that person that week. The reality is the competition is absolutely crazy to get an agent or a publisher, right? So if you get the opportunity, you should do it. But I would definitely say make sure you actually finish your manuscript before you do that.
So Tim, how has having an agent helped you with your writing?
There are a lot of benefits to having an agent. But the big things straight away is that, one, you're going to get in front of editors from big publishers, right? You get that foot in the door to show your work. 2, you've got an industry level person who's saying, hey, this part of your book's crap, this part of the book's great, and you trust them because you know that they're working at that level. And thirdly, it's just kind of like having this extra writing friend who's like, Tim, I'm waiting for your book, I'm really excited for it, send me that next revision, which keeps you on track. Over the years, he's given me really honest and sometimes harsh feedback, but it's always been to help improve my work.
I wish I had an agent now. It sounds so good.
So how did you go in actually achieving what you said you would do over March?
I went fantastically well. Success, 3 out of 3. I finished my edit. I sent my draft out to beta readers and I researched some Amazon genre categories. So Tim, how did you go against your March goals? You set 5 goals, which was ambitious.
Yeah, I don't know why I did that. So first goal, get the book ready for my beta readers. Done. Get it out to my beta readers. Done. Third was to actually look into website options, and I actually found a pretty cool company called Card, CARRD, which do very basic kind of website designs, which is great for someone like me who does not have tech skills. Another one of my goals was to look at audio narrators for books. So I did some research into that and actually found my dream narrator, which is Carl Prekop. He did the audio book for a book called Half Bad, which is a YA fantasy. Absolutely love this guy, and I'm hoping to one day get the courage to approach him to see if he'll do the audio narration for my book.
Cover design.
Cover design is something I didn't get done this month. Sorry, guys.
You disappoint me.
Yeah,
This is
I have
what-
no excuse for that. I didn't look into cover design, but I got 4 out of 5, which isn't terrible, right?
4 out of 5 ain't bad.
Hmm.
Who wrote that song? We're going to talk April goals.
April goals.
April goals.
Okay, Bryn. So with March out of the way, and you've got a 100% track record, good work. What are your April goals?
So I'm sticking to 3 goals. So now that I've got feedback from beta readers, it's about going back and revising again, making those changes. I also need to do some business stuff, set up a bank account, set up a business name, set up some revenue spreadsheets, just a few things that actually will help me be a bit more professional about where I'm spending money and why in the future. And the third thing, which involves spending money, is I need to invest in a program called Vellum, which is essentially used to format the book and produce the document that I am able to upload to Amazon.
Awesome. So that'll keep Bryn busy for April.
I think so.
Let's hope you can do it.
I have faith in myself. So Tim, you were 4 for 5 for the March goals. What have you got planned for April?
Okay, so for my 2 April goals, I'm going to take the March one that I failed, which is to look into cover design. And my second big goal for the month, while my book is out with my beta readers, is to actually look into book editors and trying to find who are the top editors out there for giant epic fantasy novels. If you've got any, please put them in the comments. That would be great.
Nice and easy, too.
Yeah, I don't want to fail this time.
You had a tip for everyone about how to get an agent in 2021?
You know, not all of us can travel across the world and go to the right conference where they happen to have book publishers and agents.
Especially not now.
No, especially not during COVID. One thing that's really cool, which I'm seeing more and more of, is publisher and agent online speed dating, which is kind of, I guess, like the Tinder for books, maybe.
Sexy.
Thanks for watching. Please subscribe. Leave some comments about what you think about whether you want to have an agent or publisher in 2021.
Next episode, we'll be discussing how to admit you're a writer when you feel like a fraud, which is us every day.